You're going to have to use your imagination today because I didn't bring my dry erase board, but I'm going to do everything with my hands, and it might look more cool today. So, my name is Kelly Bowman. I've been a psychic professionally for over 27 years now. I mentored with Bill Mitchell, and I must say this in his name, Ohio's most legendary psychic. So, did anybody know Bill? Okay. He was really amazing. I found out that I had the gift in college, and I just went with it. I predicted something that was totally off the wall, and actually it felt kind of negative to me. So after I predicted it, it felt like a negative experience for me, because I kind of felt, anybody ever think of something that may be bad and then it happens and then you think, did I do that? Like, did I curse somebody? Right. You don't want to ever feel that way, because a lot of people have these premonitions, a lot of us, women's intuition, and men too. You only got in class. But a lot of people have these premonitions that actually come to pass. Well, I'll tell you why this happens, and it's really interesting. It happens when you're least expecting it, right? Just like a deja vu. I've been here before. Stop. I've been here. You and the trash can and the whole picture. You have to stop time and tell yourself, because I have to recall this. Hold on, let me go back. You do that when you least expect it, because you're off guard, because your mind is relaxed, because you're not expecting yourself to be a psychic, period. So when these things happen, it's your brainwave sending you a message. It's simple. It's not any kind of magic or anything like that. Your brainwave is sending you the signal, telling you that this information is going to occur, and it feeds all into your mind just like a computer, and then you let it right back out, and then you think about it, and then you start to put the personal self into that. The second guessing part, your own insecurities. Am I being negative? What's going to happen now? You know what I mean? So the interesting part is that we all do that second part. We all do that analytical part, because even though our minds and our brains are computers, we're still people with emotions and souls and hearts and feelings. And so that's where that second guessing is coming from. Now, to be a good psychic, first of all, you have to practice. That's just the base. Practice makes perfect. Anything that's cliche in life that's your mother's told you in the past is actually true. If you can't say anything good, don't say it at all. You know, if it seems too good to be true, it must be. So you kind of have to go with that principle, because you need to take that first impression that you did when you got that instinctual thought, because it was a thought, which actually we're going to get into the feeling part of it in a minute. It was a thought that created a feeling inside of you. So the feeling was your person, your personality, your feelings, okay? This is how it works. Right now, because I'm feeding you information from my brain, it's coming out of my mouth, into your ears, into your brain waves are going like this. And I call this the BATS class, B-A-T-D, BAT. The D's kind of silent, but that's okay. We won't worry about that. Because right now, you're in a beta brainwave, which is really, I'd probably look real crazy if I did it like that. Really fast, okay? So it's really active right now, because you're listening to me. You're focusing on my voice. You're listening to all the information. Oh, I got to take notes. I got to get this down. It's just like being in class when you were in school. Being tested on something. I'm going to take my earrings out and I'll tell you why. It's probably jingling in that microphone. I love those though. I don't ever get to wear them. Where was I? So So your brain waves are just really active right now. Like say when you were in high school or college and you really had to get a good grade on that test, you needed to focus. So your brain waves were real active and crazy. It's kind of like when you see a lie detector test. People doing that, we're out zigzag. Then you're dropping down a little bit when you're relaxed. Like I see some of you right now kind of, and I don't want to blame you for dozing off because it's a nice place to relax and feel good, beautiful energy. So a lot of you are going to be an alpha. Okay, that's a state of mind where you're completely relaxed, but you're still thinking. That's where Amy is right now because she's exhausted. She's been teaching classes, so good deal, good job. Yeah, working and teaching classes. So she comes here to relax. So her mind is a little bit more on even keel. Then we're going to drop down a little bit more. We're going to go to theta. Then you go down further, delta, deep sleep, sawing logs. Nobody can even wake you up if they tried. Hey, get up. You're down in delta, right? Theta is where you want to be when you want to be psychic. Now, when you have those thought processes, like you're driving in the car, you might see something and it sparks your memory. That's theta. This class is very informative, so you may actually get a little bit bored. So you're dropping down into theta, and your mind, okay, you got alpha, you got beta, you got theta, then you got delta. See the difference? When you're in theta, between beta and theta, you're very relaxed. You're not thinking about anything. You've turned off your feelings. You're content. You might be actually dozing off. You might be sitting there watching TV, but you're not taking any of it in. You might be sitting here watching me, and you might not be taking any of this in. You may be getting a psychic premonition right now. All of us are psychic. It's a fact. Every single one of you in this room is psychic, even John, the video guy. John Addison is psychic. We're all psychic. It's how you use it, first of all. I mean, morals. How you use it. And if you can use it, practice does make perfect. So if you get an instinctual feeling that says, don't go right here, there's going to be traffic. What do? Do you listen to yourself? Because a lot of times still after many years of doing this, I don't even listen to myself. I will go, don't turn right there, there's going to be traffic. Oh, well, it seems faster. So then I'll go. And I'm like, why didn't I listen to myself? Oh my gosh. Listen to yourself. I still do it. Don't step on that chair. Your foot is going to go right through it. And it did, and I cut my leg. It was like a choice that I made. It's almost like I'm being the stubborn psychic or something. I can make this happen without that. That's what I would do to Bill. He would say, this relationship is just not going to work out. And I'd be like, but. I've had a lot of people sit down with me, and I've given them an answer to their questions. And then they rephrase that question. And I'm like, that sounds like the same question. How about no? And then she comes back and then she kind of weaves in that question again in a different language. Okay, you and your ex-husband are not getting back together. I'm just going to tell you that. If you try to rephrase this question, it's going to be the same answer again and again. So when you get that absolute answer, when you get that absolute message, that's when your mind is in that theta state. But that's when you need to accept what you've heard. Now, how many of us here, this is where the interactive part comes in, okay? Because I like to have a very interactive class. I want you to talk with me. How many of us here have had psychic visions, like in your third eye, in your mind? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8. That's it. And me. That's 9. No psychic.
What do you mean by vision? Like you see something?
You see something fast, and then it happens.
Yeah, I don't know, a few times.
Okay, that's great.
I
11. We're up to 11. I bet you everyone in here has done that, but they haven't admitted it. So, how many of us have heard things? And you're like, did I just, oh, John, did I just hear my name being called? Or what? Wait a minute. Did I just hear somebody breathe on my neck or whatever? We're getting into a whole different thing here. Mediumship. Okay? Mediumship. That's when you are actually sensitive to another dimension. Come on in. Make yourself at home. You're welcome to come and go because you may find yourself dozing off. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. It's fine. God, just get a pillow, Amy. Mediumship. When you're connecting to another realm, another dimension, another world, perhaps, okay? You're hearing something. Now, two different kinds of hearing, okay? You can be clairaudient, and you're going to hear that message strictly scientific, completely. No hodgepodge about it. You can hear spirits. That's where the mediumship comes in. The message may be the same or it may be different, but still you're hearing that. And then you have to ask yourself, try not to be analytical or judgmental about that. Ask yourself, what did I just hear? Maybe you heard a phrase. Maybe you heard someone say, don't do that. Or maybe you heard someone say, shut up. It just depends on what you heard. If you heard your name or whatever. As to how you react to it. That's the thing. It's hot in here. Whew. It is, isn't it? It's crazy. No wonder everybody's dozing off. How many of us, now this is kind of an interesting one. How many of us have smelled something? That is huge for me. I get chills talking about it because I can hear things, I can see things, I can, have the visions. I can have all of that, but when I smell something, I got more hands up for the smell than anything, and that's not clairsentient, by the way. A lot of people think it is, but it's not. You'll have a smell come to you. Those are sort of like aromatic apports, so to speak, that come to you. They come in. Not like a penny being dropped. A lot of people call them pennies from heaven. That actually came from a real situation, pennies from heaven, because a man told his daughter, when I die, I'm going to put pennies on your couch, put pennies on your desk chair, put pennies on everywhere around the house. She comes home one day, her dad's been dead like a couple of weeks. She sees pennies all over. And that's where pennies from heaven came from, because he actually brought her pennies as an apport. That's when you know you're a strong spirit. And tell me about that. Your dad, oh, well, look at you. He went up to you like times 10. You're one rich lady, You find dimes everywhere? Doesn't matter heads or tails? No, just dimes. Man, I wish somebody would have left me dollars. Right? 20s. Leave me some hundreds, man. Come on. If you're going to throw something down here, make it good.
Nice, good evening.
Does anybody got any questions so far? I'd love to hear somebody give me an experience that they've had. And make sure you speak up.
I lived in this apartment complex where people would speed through that speed bump. And I had dogs, and one of my dogs had got hit one time. So this girl was racing through there in a little Volkswagen. And I'm coming out my back door with my son's father, and I just said, God, I wish she'd wreck. No sooner said, boom, into a telephone pole she went. And the sweet part of it was, she had a dog in the back seat. This is where karma comes in. She had a dog in the back seat that crapped all over the place. I love it. That's my story.
Oh, wow. That's a heck of a story. Meet Vicki McVeigh, everyone. Psychic and astrologer. Wow. And she worked for Bill for years, too. Deb.
Kelly, I have where, and I'll give you the example, was I saw a ship, this was my first one, where I saw a ship and then a hole got blown into the bottom of the ship right at the water line and blew a hole in it, but the ship didn't sink. And I saw where the skiff went, the people who blew the boat up. I saw where they went. And told someone about it. The next day I was like, well, I had this dream about this boat that had a hole blown in the side of it, but it didn't sink. And then 2 days later, the USS Cole was bombed right at the water line. A hole was blown in the bottom of the ship, and the ship didn't sink. Only they didn't know where the skiff went, but I still know where it went. But I get these, I don't want to say all the time, but they happen 2 days before.
And they come in your sleep always, or do they come in visions? Because a lot of your stuff will come in your sleep.
But it's always 2 days. I've got earthquakes, I've got, and I can...
So it sounds to me like you pick up on tragedy and disaster, which is not a bad thing.
I do.
Picking up on tragedy and disastrous situations doesn't mean that you're negative. It means that you're picking up on tragedy and disaster. It's as simple as that. It means that you're getting a message and you're being knocked in the head about it. And who do I call? Hello, U.S. government? Yeah, I just saw a ship having a hole blown in the side of it. Can you go check the rivers and oceans? I mean, what are you supposed to do? It's so difficult for us as clairvoyants and visionists and gifted, very sensitive people to actually pick up on something like that, and you have no one to tell but a friend, because you go tell your friend or somebody that you know, and then when it happens, they're like, oh my God, what did you do? What did you do? No, I didn't do anything. I just saw it. I swear. I didn't do it. I just said wreck into the telephone pole, and she did. I mean, was that my fault? I mean, that could be some kind of telekinesis stuff going on there. If you can move a whole car, screw the spoons. Go ahead.
Once in a traffic light and it turns green, I usually go. But once I'm sitting there at the red light, it turned green.
You hesitated.
I hesitated. And I stared at the green light, and I remember thinking, what's holding me back from going? And just as I'm staring at the green light, a semi with a big trailer right through.
What a smart man. He listened to his instincts. What do you have? That's amazing. What you got?
I had something one time with my daughter, and she had a boyfriend, and she was about 16, 17, she's 16, and she wanted to go to his house. And I said, no, you can't go. I wasn't home. She had called me. And anytime, I have no idea why I said no, but she wanted to go, and I was determined she was not going to go. She says, well, why not? I said, he can't drive. It's snowing real bad, you're not going. She's mad at me. And I didn't care.
Sometimes that's the price you have to pay.
I didn't care.
Right.
I don't know why, but a couple days later, my husband finally told her, she says, you need to tell your mom that she's going to find out the place. He had a head-on collision on the way home, and it was on the passenger side, and probably would kill her.
Sometimes that is so strong, because sometimes you get an instinctual feeling and you know what to do. You're like adamant. I'm not going to let you go in the car. I'm not going to let you do this, or I'm not leaving yet because I kind of feel something. It's crazy, because if you go and tell somebody else, like your mom or your sister or whoever, they're going to get angry at you because you're like, no, so-and-so is not going with you. I'm not going to let him go because I just feel something bad. Go ahead and listen to yourself, because they'll get over it. They'll get over it. Yeah, John?
Well, is that intuition or clairvoyance or both?
Both. It's the thing. They got all these new titles and stuff. And it's like, Actually, some of them kind of go like this. They cross over and they all match each other and they all connect, and it's all the same thing. Premonition is seeing the future. Clairvoyance is seeing past, present, future. I mean, it's like it's kind of like a subtle overlap of psychic ability. It all intertwines. Some people might hear, no, don't let him go, or whatever, clairaudient. And it just depends on what that message is. But the brain is acting in a scientific manner, trying to give you a message. Let it give you the message. When you are in that really calm state and you get it, take it and absolutely use it wholeheartedly. Do not question it, because that's where you get into trouble, and that's where you can't be a pro at what you do, because you're constantly going, I don't know about that. That's your insecurity, like, that sounds kind of crazy. If I tell this person that, they're going to think I'm nuts. But I had a situation, and I'm sure a couple of you in here have heard this. And I'm sure I've been taped and somebody else has heard this. I had a lady that came to me, and she was distraught over other things, and we were going through it. And I'm there to work with you. No matter how much information you give me, the answer is still the same. It does not matter. If you give a psychic a lot of info, you're scared that you're feeding them with stuff. When it comes to me, you can tell me nothing or you can tell me everything. The outcome won't change. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not going to sway, because I know better. I've been taught. Do not second guess. Don't sway your answer. Stick to your guns. Do what you see. Do what you hear. Do what you know. And that's the thing about your brain. It knows the right answer. Just like looking at your computer screen, you see what's on there. It's not usual, but like when you look at your bank statement online, now who's more apt to be wrong? That technical product, or you like getting mad because you forgot that you'd paid your electric bill and you overdrew your account? The machine's probably the right one. That's what your brain is. Your brain's the machine. Listen to it and go with it. You're fighting yourself. I do it every day myself. Go ahead.
How do I train my brain more to accept the fact that there are spirits? I don't really want to see events. I want to see spirits. If you can see them, that means they're here. The only reason I'm not seeing them is because my brain won't accept it, or it isn't trained to.
Okay, that's a very good question, and I've got a good answer for you. Who cares? No, I'm kidding. No, I'm just kidding. The answer is psychic ability, and I told you this, it seems like they kind of overlap. Psychic abilities are over here overlapping. Mediumship is a different thing. It's totally different. It's not your brain. It's actually different dimensions communicating through ports with you. So there's a difference. I wish I could see ghosts walking right by me right now, but that's not my gift. I have to accept that. I have seen spirits, but not like my uncle. Everywhere my uncle goes, he's like, check out this picture I took. You're not going to believe this. And I didn't even see it there, because that camera's got all those pixels in it, tiny, tiny billions of pixels. It takes a picture and it sees something that your eyes can't see, because maybe your eyes don't work as well as the picture. Kind of like your feelings don't work as well as your computer calculating your... Do you follow? I'm cross-referencing, but it's the same thing. My uncle gets these pictures of spirits constantly. They're coming through for him. They're not communicating with him. I mean, maybe that's their way of communicating with him, but they're not communicating with him. He's just getting really great snapshots, and I want them for my website. So when I take this, I'm right next to him taking the same pictures. I don't understand it. I don't know how it happens. During a seance is when my mediumship heightens. We've done seances together. When we do that, we're opening up the portals. There are ways to open up portals. If you really want to do this, you need to do it right, because you're dealing with a whole nother realm. You're dealing with a whole nother universe out there. You don't know what, it's kind of like Forrest Gump. Like, you know, yeah, you never know what you're going to get when you open those doors. Be careful. Have you seen Amy Gibson's paranormal class? We ghost hunted together. We've all, the front row here. We've got the front row up here. I know why they're up here. Because we're all one and the same. And that's where you're delving into something that's a little bit more supernatural and paranormal, other than where this is, to me, and you can challenge me on this anytime you want, but I've had other psychics agree, it's a science. When you go to sleep at night, okay, and you wake up the next day, and I'm sitting here with you, and we're having coffee, and I'm like, oh my God, stop. The waiter, that car just honked its horn. I'm feeling something. It's familiar, deja vu, it's familiar. Deja vu is nothing more than your brain recalling a scan. Now, when I say your brain is a computer, I mean it. And that's a whole nother topic at Angels and Aliens. Because how the brain was created, how it functions, the technical aspects of it, and why it's a computer, talks about the technical part of it more, and it might be more boring, but you can get your...
Can that be a scan from another life?
It can be a scan...
My first
Boy, these are so many facets. Yeah.
4 years old.
You had a past life experience?
No, I had deja vu.
You had deja vu at 4. We have a lot in common, I think, because I remember being like this big, and my mom was like, there's no way you can remember what you remember.
My mom said.
There is no way.
Because I was 3.5 years old when my baby brother died, and I remember
You remembered it.
his funeral clear as day, which she got to hear that in my workshop yesterday. We were at his funeral, and like I said, I was 3.5. He was 2 months old when he died. And I'm sitting on the stairs at the funeral home, and I could see him and his coffin and everything. But he was also sitting right next to me on the stairs.
That's mediumship. That's connecting with spirits. What you're talking about is also John, when you say you had a recall or a deja vu, were you looking at the past life, or was that your first experience?
No, my first experience. I told my mom that we were in Lansing, Michigan, and I said, I've been here before. She said, no, you've never been here before. You were just a little tiny baby, just born. And I said, no, there's a fire department and a church over here. Turn the corner, there it was.
That's truly your memory. People don't think, if you went into a session with her, you may even remember being born.
Yeah.
She does hypnosis, and it creates, I don't even want to go there.
Well, what I was asking was, from a previous life, can you have something?
Absolutely. That's where that smell comes in too. Is this a spirit communicating with me through a port and a smell? Or is this something I smelled and I saw like Victorian dresses, and what am I seeing? Souls jump, because you think when you die that soul comes out of your body and drifts into some place it's holding in a chamber with a big bow on it, and you're gonna go and walk, and that's great to think that, but your soul, this is the beautiful part. It's cool, because if you can remember those past lives in those recalls and things, that's a strength, because after I die, this is what I want. If anybody wants to volunteer, bring a video camera to my deathbed. And I mean this. You got one now, so you will be in charge of this. You could all watch me die, because my experiment, and you can't really tell me what's going to happen after unless you have a seance, and then I'll listen and hear you. So, I'm sorry, it's kind of goofy, but I want you to film me as my heart stops and watch my soul and the orbs and what comes out of me, because nobody ever does that experience.
I do end of life care. Right now I work with people with developmental disabilities, but I've done a lot of end of life care, and I've been there when the soul has left the body, even though the body.
You can feel it, can't you?
Yes, and it's very beautiful to watch.
Yes.
There is no real way to describe it.
It's almost like you see the suffering, then you see it ending, and you feel sad, but then you see peace in some kind of strange way, and you see something lift from this body that no longer suffers and no longer hurts. And that is watching the soul come out. Now that's energy, and we're all made of electricity, really. I mean, do you ever get shocked touching the switch or sitting on the couch? Oh, God, electrocute my butt, man. Come on. My boyfriend is like the absolute worst, and he insists that it's everything else but him. He's like, oh! And then he goes, sits in my car. God, your car is full of electricity. I'm thinking, no, you're blowing light bulbs. You're shocking yourself on all the light switches. He touched the television, and I saw it went into his hand, and I was like, are you kidding me? It's not me. It's not that. It's not that. It's you. We all have this electric field. It's a magnetic electric field. That's why the magnetic bracelets work. That's why magnetics help us. That's why people come here and sell magnetic stuff, because it helps us. But our body is full of electric. Are you buying this? Because you're kind of like, I'm sensing stuff from you, and I'm right here. You're buying it? Are you smiling because you go, okay. I was wondering, because I feel like I'm getting to you in some way and you're understanding it. So your body is full of electric, and then when that electric leaves your body, it's up in the air, and people are like taking pictures, and then they're getting those orbs, and they're getting those premonitions of, not premonitions, apparitions. Sorry, I'm moving so fast I can't think straight. But you're getting the apparitions. The orbs move into apparition, and the apparition moves into orbs. Tell you what, my brother was working at a daycare with his friend. He's dating this girl. She's like, I got to work late tonight at this daycare. Do you want to come by? I think it's haunted. And he's like, okay. Getting off the subject, but this is still fun. They set up their video camera at night. They're just sitting there. Finally, after 5 days of waiting, this orb comes through the room, and it gets bigger and it gets smaller and it gets bigger and it gets smaller. And then my brother spoke, and it went, phew. It's like it got scared. The energy, the ghost or whatever of that person that it was dwelling in was moving, and phew, I'm out of here. Let me tell you something. We're all full of that. So it does go somewhere, but also I feel, this is what I believe, and everybody else can think what they want, is that the reincarnation process occurs when a baby is being born, and whatever soul is dwelling around that person that's pregnant, or, you know, if you have have you ever looked at one of your kids or somebody and gone, I could swear this is my grandma. My grandma died before my kid was born, and I know that this is my great grandma, or this is my grandpa, or that's like Uncle Ed. Like, you know what I mean? Or you think your cat is like someone else that died in your family, like, and you just feel this feeling of connection psychically, like, wait a minute, something doesn't seem right here. This could be someone from my family. Whoever spirit was dwelling around that person during that birth could actually be somebody who's kind of slipped into, or you've seen people be possessed. You've seen people been taken over by spirits. Why can't you see a spirit slip into a baby as soon as it's being born, right? Who knows? Back to psychic brain stuff. Anyway, so your mind is slowing down. Here's what I want you to do. Oh, we're doing pretty good. And then I can have questions afterwards. Here's what I want you to do. If you want to enhance on this craft, and that's basically what it is, this gift that you have, because we all have it, the next time you get an instant message, I want you to just take it and then tell yourself, stop. Don't say no. Okay, usually you're like, say no to drugs, say no. Don't say no. The next time you get, and we get them every day or after dreams or whatever, don't deny the thought. Don't deny the computer. Don't fight with it like you do with the electric company and right? Like we were talking about how, that didn't happen. Yes, it did. Okay, it's a fact. It's in your face. Treat that thought that comes into your mind like it's an absolute fact. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. I saw it with my own 3rd eye. Do you follow? Use it however you want. I mean, you can use it for the good, hopefully. But don't question yourself, because that's where you get yourself into trouble every time. Now, I'm probably like 5% not listen. I listen probably like 95% of the time. 5% of me doesn't listen because I want what I want, and we all want what we want, and if we don't like what it has to say, then we're just going to be stubborn and do what we want. Do you follow what I'm saying? You're laughing. Would that happen to be you?
Somebody I know.
Oh, the person next to me.
Aquarius rising.
Yeah, the person next to me.
That's her Aquarius rising.
It's my Aquarius rising that makes me do that.
And your Taurus.
My Taurus is practical. Oh, that's my astrologer. You better listen to your astrologer, because if you don't, you're in trouble. Go ahead, yeah. Okay, see you, Amy. Okay, anybody got any questions? Anybody got any? Yes.
Do deja vus ever last extended period of time?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
The deja vus ever last extended period of time, like maybe 77 minutes?
Like a month?
7-minute long deja
Oh,
vu?
why not? If you can do that, hey man, I want to have a cup of coffee with you guys, because that stuff, like deja vu on demand. Like, no, like, I mean, think about it.
That's the only time I had it.
Like I can control this woman. Hit that pole. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was probably not anything you could help. Why? Because your brain, when it's in the delta theta state, theta delta, we'll go that direction. But when it's in theta delta state, it's scanning all the next day and what's going to happen. You don't believe this, but it's true. Your brain is a machine that literally goes through every detail of what's happening the next day before you go to sleep the next time. Because why do you think that sleep was created? To rest, to recoup, to regroup, to compress your files, to do your CC cleaner and your malware. It's doing its job while you're sleeping. Your body gets its rest, your mind is recouping and defragging, and then bam, it begins. And then when you wake up, you might not have got enough sleep, you might have gotten a lot of sleep, you might have had psychic dreams. You might have, after it was done with its job, you might have had a couple dreams. It just depends on how long it took to defrag. So, the next day you go through, you're like, wait a minute, you're not going to get a deja vu every day. You might get a long deja vu, you may not get one but once a year. It just depends. You might be focusing on the dreams you had that were premonitions instead. It just depends on what you're allowing yourself to remember. And it's just like past lives. What can you remember? It all goes hand in hand when it comes to the brain and the soul together. This is a one package. They call it mind, body, spirit for a reason, because it's all one package. They don't mean spirit like the spirits there and the paranormal, which is wonderful. but we're talking about a part of us, a part of me. I am mind, body, spirit. And it just depends on how I'm allowing my body and my spirit to react to my mind, because the mind is the most powerful thing. It is the most powerful thing. And I don't know what else to say. That's it. Anybody want to? Yeah.
Your boyfriend, can he wear a watch? Do watches change time?
He doesn't wear watches, but oh man, his phone always like resets the time. And I'm like, but you're on satellite. We're on the same exact carrier. We have the same exact phone. I mean, everything, the model, everything. And he's like, it's not 3 o'clock in the morning. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. What's wrong with this thing? I'm calling the company. Go ahead and call it. Just reset it. I did. I reset it 5 times and it still says like 3:25 a.m. He's full of it in more ways than one. He is full of it, girl.
Because I have issues with alarm clocks around my head. They won't stay. They won't.
Now that is electricity. That is energy. Totally different from someone who attracts spirits.
Oh, right.
It's God, man, we could sit here for days and have okay, let's separate that category, go to the next category, and the next it separates. So I am going to let you guys get to your next class. I'm going to say goodbye. I want to thank you for letting me talk to you. There's a lot of information to take in, and maybe someday we can do like a whole weekend workshop and have fun and sit around and have a powwow and talk about it. But thanks.